Colorado just keeps giving. Started the day at the hot springs, 2 rest days, and I don't know if it's the hot springs or just 2 rest days, but we were feeling pretty good this morning.
Much better, feeling much better, more energy, very well rested, and ready to hit back on the trail.
Yeah, so we headed back to Salida, jumped on the trail, went over Marshall Pass. It was all right.
Yeah. Basically, it was a dirt road up the side of a mountain.
So we decided, in terms of balancing trail and technical riding with getting the Trans-America Trail finished, basically our idea is we want to ride some hard options and explore some trails lightly, but we still need to cover a lot of ground. So what we decided today is we hit Salida, went over Marshall Pass, and then jumped on the Continental Divide Trail.
Which is single track.
Yeah, single track, and as soon as we got on it, like, it was pretty rowdy. First like mile was like pretty comparable to like Rainbow Trail or whatever it was. And after that it started getting like pretty technical, like bigger rocks, like just tighter, some pretty tough riding. So we rode that for like 3 miles, like not very far. Took like 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe. And we're pretty beat after that point, you know, wrestling the bikes around, just hot. Yeah. So we decided to turn around because it's a 50-mile long section and we don't want to spend all day doing 50 miles.
That would have been an 8-hour plus day of just that single track section.
Yeah, so we had like a pre-planned loop picked out there. So we turned around, headed back to the trail, got back on it. And since have found some pretty good riding too.
Yeah, we got back on the trail, kind of mix of Sam's and Kevin's. Got off on a couple interesting little side trails. One had a fence.
Well, yeah, one was like you just take up the side of it.
It was just like basically. In the middle of the hillside, riding through bushes and everything. It was a lot of fun. I think one of those trees shifted gears for me. But then it was fenced off. We had to turn around and come back. But that was a pretty fun trail.
Yeah, and then we were a little hesitant. Well, I think Dad was mainly hesitant to take the next hard option that we saw. However, I looked at it and it's a road, right? Like the Rainbow Trail and the Continental Divide trails were trails. Yeah. So we decided to give it a go, and it turned out to be probably the best riding yet. Yeah,
the funnest road or trail that we've done yet. It's about 10-mile section, and it was a road, but it was still very technical. It was a lot of rocks everywhere, some good steep climbs.
Yeah, it was like a really good dual sport road.
It was the kind of road where, you know, about any bike could probably get through it, but if you wanted to go fast on it, it was a challenge. Plenty of good challenge and a lot of good riding. Good time. And views, oh my gosh. We got to the top of a couple of vistas and it was just breathtaking views of the valley below.
So it was really fun. It was like technical enough to keep it really interesting to ride.
Yeah.
But easy enough to where you're not like dogging yourself and like you're feeling pretty good while riding. So really, really good. Highly recommend.
Highly recommend that. It's like, I think, hard option 2.
I don't know. We'll put it into the description, whatever the name is. Once we look.
Really, really recommend you check that one out if you're on a dual sport.
Yeah, and now we're in the middle of nowhere. Or, well, not
We're
really.
we're almost to Lake City.
Yeah. And we're going to try and bunk up there for the night.
Got about 20 miles to go to Lake City. It's been dry and dusty today. That was, a little warm, but beautiful day, beautiful weather, just a little dusty. But we're going to try to get on down the road here about 20 miles and get to Lake City and call it a day, probably.
Oh, and I cleaned my fork seals again, and feels nice. Fork feels good. Hasn't been leaking. Haven't checked it since riding today, but it was looking a little more promising, so we'll see.
We're hoping that holds out.
Yeah, and just like glancing at it now, it looks all right.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's leaking now.
So maybe I just had like a couple bad, unlucky days in a row getting something jammed in the fork seals. So.